Episode 10 of The Bad Batch, titled Common Ground, felt a little bit slower than the past few episodes, but still it had some good developments for our main characters and some great exploration of their current attempts to adapt in an Imperial galaxy. Everything opens on Raxus, a planet we haven't seen since Season 3 of the Clone Wars, although it technically would have popped up in the Dark Disciple arc, so it's probably yet another example of the show getting to use some assets that were already created and finally being used. Raxus Senator Singh speaks out against the Imperial occupation and is taken into custody, but not before his droid is able to send out a call for help. Sid picks up that call and sends the Batch to extract him. But Hunter is going back into overly protective mode with Omega, which is understandable after her abduction, so he makes her stay behind. I feel like we've already been through this multiple times, where he makes her stay on the ship or stay out of harm's way, and then she winds up saving their butts. But I think this time he's operating more on guilt than any assumptions about her. Sid calls Omega helpless, but I don't think Hunter sees her that way. I think he's more unsure of himself, and he doesn't trust that he can keep her safe. After all, he was the one that was shot by Cad Bane when she needed help the most. So it's not quite the same as what we've seen before, but still it feels pretty familiar. Anyway, the rest of the batch head off to Raxus to rescue a separatist senator with the help of a droid. Hunter and Ekko are especially vocal about hating everything about the mission. This is one of those stories that I think was completely predictable, but it's still important for us to see. Like, obviously, they're going to learn to work with these people they've considered their mortal enemies for the past 3 or so years. The episode is called Common Ground. They're going to find it with the separatists. But while the story isn't surprising, we need to see the batch come around to separatist ideals, because doing so means they're coming around to rebel ideals. I don't know if the endgame for these characters is to join up with what will eventually become the Rebel Alliance, but even if they don't, they should still be ideologically on their side. Sending them to the capital of the Confederacy of Independent Systems to rescue one of their former opposition's leaders while a droid tags along is about the most challenging way to illustrate that. And I like that they find common ground with the enemy on the same planet that Ahsoka does in the Clone Wars when she meets the Bontaries in the episode Heroes on Both Sides. I also love that Ekko proves how he's changed over the course of the episode by telling Senator Ring at the end to live to fight another day. He's echoing, pun intended, the final words of Hardcase in the episode Plan of Descent, where he sacrificed himself to destroy a separatist supply ship over Umbara. Ekko wasn't there for that specific moment, but I'm sure other clones said something similar over the course of the war. It doesn't really matter. It just means that these clones are taking the lessons they learned fighting a war against the separatists, and they're now passing that wisdom on to a separatist. And the fact that it's Ekko to deliver the line, the clone that probably has the most reason to hate separatists after what they did to him, that's good stuff. I could have done with one more scene for Ekko to explicitly see that, not every separatist is like Wat Tambor. I still want more time dedicated to his character, but this was a step in the right direction. Back on Ord Mantell, they find that Omega has found a way to benefit her team by playing holochess for money. She's so good at it that she wins enough games to pay off their debt to Sid, which to me still hints that there might be more to Omega than we think. Yes, she is a pure replication of Jango Fett, but the Kaminoans may have still altered her somehow, or she's just a savant at holochess, I don't know. Hunter is upset she didn't keep a low profile, but he quickly changes his tune after seeing she's upset, and also Wrecker bumps into him to show his dissatisfaction. I'm still loving that big brother energy from him. And so Hunter offers to play Omega and agrees to never make her sit out on missions again if she beats him, which I think he knows is going to happen. It's a nice moment, and I'm also glad that hopefully this is the end of Hunter making her stay behind to some degree. It's obvious he missed her on the mission and wanted her there, at one point giving orders to her and Tech. He just needs to trust himself again and know that he might not be able to protect her from everything. And he also needs to remember that even if he can't, she can take care of herself. She took care of them in this episode, and she took care of herself when she was captured. She escaped. The Bad Batch was just there to pick her up at the end. So yeah, in the end, I thought this episode was just fine compared to just about every other episode. I think it's my least favorite of the bunch, but still important to the story. A little slower, but we can use some time to breathe after all the hectic, non-stop action of the past month. And of course, the show still looks great. The infiltration of Raxus and the extraction of the Senator were exciting. Oh, and I really like that we're seeing them now stun the regs they're fighting against. Now that they know the truth about the chips, especially with Wrecker's experiences, they feel some sympathy for the regs, and they're no longer shooting to kill. But those are my thoughts on Common Ground. What did you think? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with all our Bad Batch coverage, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.